Hello and welcome to the Kongversation Mini. I'm Hyle Russell.
And I am Gibbon.
And a Kongversation Mini is apropos for what we're discussing on this episode because we are discussing a mini Donkey Kong, a junior Donkey Kong, or a Donkey Kong Junior, as the normies call him. Yes, so, Gibbon, welcome back. We discussed Mario Kart Tour, and now you're back on the show to discuss Mario Kart Tour. How does it feel to be pigeonholed?
It's living.
I'm not paying you anything, and you...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm paying you, actually.
Yeah, actually you are, yeah. Which is fine. I'll accept that arrangement. The last time you were on, well, discounting the Super Donkey League episode, we talked about Dixie Kong and Funky Kong being added to Mario Kart Tour. Funky making his return to Mario Kart for the first time since the Wii game, which I think was called Mario Kart Wii. I'm losing track of the... Oh, God.
It might have been. I sort of dropped off the middle Mario Karts there for a while.
I can remember, like, DS, and I can remember then that they called the one on the 3DS 7. And it's just the Wii one is just this nebulous blur of, wait, what did they call it? But, yeah, Funky was back from Mario Kart Wii, and Dixie was making her Mario Kart debut. And this got everyone wondering, well, since this is a monstrous cash cow of a mobile game, what other character debuts will be sacrificed on the altar of this game? Mario Kart character debuts, that is. Because, we've always wondered, when is Dixie going to be in Mario Kart? And then they just stopped putting Diddy in Mario Kart, so we kind of just stopped having that discussion entirely. But this game, it demands tributes. It demands sacrifices. And we need more characters, more profits. Why isn't our third quarter profits exceeding expectations? The shareholders want to know why you aren't adding more characters. So we got Dixie Kong in the game. Fine, whatever. I wasn't that enthused about it. I was happy for those who were. But then, we were discussing, well, is K. Rool going to make his Mario Kart debut in this game? Is Cranky Kong going to make his Mario Kart debut? Also ruining...
Don't say that out loud.
Also ruining the moment that Cranky and Mario kind of meet face to face without a glass window between them. Because they haven't really faced each other since he became Cranky Kong, except for his silhouettes in Super Smash Brothers and Jungle Japes. So this big moment that would have a lot of meaning for Donkey Kong fans, would just be pissed away in this game. But, they did piss away the first Mario and Sonic game by having it be an Olympics mashup. And here we are. So, we wouldn't be the only ones disappointed by them ruining dream scenarios. But another possibility that came up every now and again was Donkey Kong Jr. And by that, I mean the character from the arcade game Donkey Kong Jr., who was in the original Super Mario Kart, but then they replaced him. I believe the chronology is they replaced him with Wario. When Mario Kart 64 was developing, they replaced Koopa Troopa with Kamek. And then they replaced Kamek with, as Miyamoto called him, Super Donkey Kong, the modern Donkey Kong.
Oh, is that how that round robin played out?
Yeah, because if you look at when it was Mario Kart R or whatever it was called, the early screenshots of it in development, that's kind of the way it shook out. They replaced the heavyweight Donkey Kong Jr. with another heavyweight Wario, and then the Koopa Troopa got swapped out with the more, I guess, appropriate for the mid-90s Kamek riding off Yoshi's Island. But then they decided, Donkey Kong is too marketable, and Donkey Kong Country / Super Donkey Kong is way too big. We need to bring the Donkey Kong Country Donkey Kong into Mario Kart. That was his first appearance outside of a Rare game, although Rare did get credited for the 3D model in the credits. So that was the last time Donkey Kong Jr. was really in Mario Kart. There were plans to bring him into Mario Kart Double Dash before the buyout, or right around the time the buyout, Rare's purchase by Microsoft was going down. They were coming up this idea for Mario Kart Double Dash, and Donkey Kong was going to be paired with Donkey Kong Jr., which would have been a continuity nightmare, only in the sense that everybody would then perceive Donkey Kong Jr. to be the modern Donkey Kong's son. But what about Cranky Kong?
I mean, we never had this discussion with Mario Tennis, so I'm not sure why it would have been any worse.
We'll kind of get into that too, Gibbon. When Donkey Kong Jr. showed up in Mario Tennis, which was the last time he showed up. And,
Game & Watch Gallery 4 was the last time he showed up. Do your homework, Hyle.
You're right. I meant show up in a modern context and not in this kind of retro presentation. Okay. Game & Watch Gallery 4 is another weird byproduct of the buyout around that era.
Yeah.
So, good Lord. All right. My eyes are already going cross, and I'm already thinking about how much alcohol I want to drink when we're done recording this.
Oh man, my favorite distillery shop stopped shipping up to Washington under present circumstances.
Just the general shithole nature of our country, or the fires out west?
Just all the pandemic stuff. The shippers won't do the stuff up here.
It's been hard for me to get fruit gushers in grocery stores.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's been a nightmare. Which I say that while, lines to the local food bank are lined up for 4 to 5 hours straight. So I can't get my gushers. I'm doing relatively all right. Anyway, so yeah, when Camelot brought Donkey Kong Jr. into the original Mario Tennis for the N64 to be Donkey Kong's doubles partner, it was at least with a caveat that Baby Mario was also in the game. Mm-hmm. So there could have been time travel shenanigans afoot. Yeah. And then with Game & Watch Gallery 4, the entire Game & Watch Gallery series up until that point was presented as kind of retro. That was the weird concurrent retro Donkey Kong series alongside the modern Donkey Kong series that happened up through 2002. So lesser titles, more low budget titles like the Game & Watch Gallery series, or Mario's Tennis, Possessive Mario's Tennis for the Virtual Boy, also had Donkey Kong Jr. in it. But Game & Watch Gallery 4, the only reason it's a talking point at DK Vine and considered part of the Donkey Kong Country universe is because at the 11th hour they decided we need to start standardizing the way Donkey Kong is portrayed now that Rare is no longer developing Donkey Kong games, and we're going to be doing it internally, we foresee. So it's too late to change any of the other art assets in the game, but for the title screen, we can put the modern Donkey Kong on the title screen. And it's just, what? Okay. But
Which is why they then went for that design for the Mario versus Donkey Kong games, despite the obvious arcade influence.
Yeah, because originally when it was Donkey Kong Plus, he was just going to be the original.
Well, I fully believe that it's still intended to be the original Donkey Kong in that series. So,
well, yeah. But I remember seeing screenshots of it before it took on the faux ACM rendered look. It was the, I guess, supposed to be the Donkey Kong 94 iteration of Donkey Kong Sr. And then, you have your own take on Mario versus Donkey Kong, of course, but they did replace the model at the very least with the rare Donkey Kong.
It was definitely the era for standardizing designs. Baby Bowser and Bowser Jr. now look identical and stuff like that as well.
And they got rid of some redundant characters like the Koopa Kids / Baby Bowsers from Mario Party were excised after a certain point. And so anyway, one of the like late changes, relatively late, maybe mid-development changes to Mario Kart Double Dash was that once the buyout happened, they were like, okay, Donkey Kong Jr., we shouldn't really use him, right? Because Diddy Kong is a far more marketable character at the present time. And Rare did this whole thing where they aged up the characters, and the arcade Donkey Kong is now Cranky Kong. And we would be fools not to put Diddy in the game. And now that we're no longer beholden to this kind of cultural Japanese businessman respect kind of aspect of using characters, and we need to start using some of these Rare characters. And Diddy was Rare's baby, but now they're gone, so he's our baby, and we gotta use him because he's a big-time character. So they put Diddy in Double Dash, right? What completely understandable. You still see echoes of Donkey Kong Jr. in the code, and also they stuck him in Waluigi Stadium in the crowd.
Yeah, in the crowd.
And, of course, I fan-wank that it's not Donkey Kong Jr., that is a bunch of resident Kongs from Donkey Kong Island there to cheer Donkey and Diddy on. Because,
it's the same drone scene in, like, the Game & Watch Gallery games.
Well, that could just be time travel folding in on itself, and here's 12 variant Donkey Kong Juniors, all jumping out of a burning castle.
Oh, like the one Banjo-Kazooie ending.
And now Baron Von Ghoul needs to hunt them to eliminate this paradox. But
now I know who should voice Bon Ghoul. It should be the actor from Jumanji.
No, he would be Saberman, obviously.
Oh, you're right. Okay, never mind. That's much better.
Yeah. Well, okay. So that was kind of like the last gasp of Donkey Kong Jr. minus references here or there in Smash. And historical acknowledgments, retro, obviously homage Donkey Kong Jr. in their country games, but the character ceased to be, which
even in other prequel games, like he got replaced by Baby Donkey Kong.
Yes, and Baby Donkey Kong is a whole can of worms that I'm not going to touch on this episode, Gibbon, because that, I think, it is Nintendo honestly not caring about Donkey Kong continuity, or at least the Yoshi's Island DS team not caring about Donkey Kong continuity, and somehow it got greenlit, and we're left to pick up the shards, but
I think it's fine.
Donkey Kong Jr. I am working on this video. I am working on this whole video that I've talked with you about explaining as best I can how Donkey Kong, as in the modern Donkey Kong, Cranky Kong, as in Donkey Kong Sr., Donkey Kong Jr., and Baby Donkey Kong all can kind of work. All right?
I mean, it's really simple. Like, Baby Donkey Kong is literally when he's just born. Donkey Kong Jr. is same age as arcade-era Mario. And then when he's got the tie, finally, he's the same age as contemporary-aged Mario.
Yes. That's one explanation. Another explanation could be that Baby Donkey Kong is Baby Cranky Kong, which has problems, and I
disagree with that because there's multiple sources that show that Junior and Mario are roughly the same age. So
okay. And most people don't realize that though, because everybody thinks Donkey Kong Jr. is baby or a toddler or like somebody like vaguely Kiddy Kong aged. No. When this came up, when what we're talking about, Donkey Kong Jr. being announced for Mario Kart Tour last week, and it fully was implemented this past Tuesday in the update, alongside, by the way, Mario from Super Mario Kart. So that's the catch to all of this, and I'll touch upon that after I finish airing my grievances with with the way because I was surprised how the fandom reacted to this. By and large, I saw a split.
I was not, because I don't pay attention to them.
Well, I was aware of the splits within the fandom, but I wasn't aware of how stark it was among age groups and just kind of like those old timers who were with the Donkey Kong Country series either from the start or from a young age and kind of came up on the internet in the late 90s or early aughts. And when like Donkey Kong Country was still relatively new and Rare was either still working on a series as like the primary caretakers of the series, or we're still doing the Game Boy Advance games and then, Diddy Kong Racing DS. Those people, you and I'm including in that age group, we seem to be under the impression and the belief and are very, very dedicated to the idea that the modern Donkey Kong is an adult Donkey Kong Jr.
I don't understand how that's even in contention at all.
Because the younger generation, and I'm
wrong. I understand this.
I'm casting a wide net here because not everyone in either generation thinks this way. Obviously, you're going to get some older people who think, no, he's not Donkey Kong Jr. And then you're going to get some younger people who are like, yeah, that makes the most sense. The younger generation, I've noticed, seems to really get hung up on the modern Donkey Kong is often referred to as Cranky Kong's grandson. Ergo, he is Donkey Kong Jr.'s son. And so he can't be Donkey Kong Jr.
These people don't understand how genealogy works, so.
Yeah. All right. So I'm trying to be tactful here.
I'm not. They're wrong.
So, as I pointed, so first of all, I pointed out on Twitter when I noticed all of the drama starting up, is that, okay, if we look at the games, if we look at the in-game dialogue of Cranky Kong, he, more often than not, refers to Donkey Kong as his grandson. However, he does refer to him as his son as well. And he's made numerous references to raising him. So I tweeted that thinking the implication was clear. And people thought this was
Hyle, people are dumb as rocks.
Well, people thought this was me coming down on the side of the modern Donkey Kong is not Donkey Kong Jr. So then I had to do a follow-up tweet where I said, no, what I'm saying is you can say he is his grandson, but if Cranky raised him, that could only leave us with the possibility that the modern Donkey Kong is Donkey Kong Jr. Biologically, son or grandson, it does not matter. Cranky raised him. What do we see in the arcade games? Donkey Kong Sr. raising Donkey Kong Jr. That is his son.
I think people get hung up a little bit on the Junior thing because a lot of people don't seem to realize that like Junior doesn't have to be the immediately next generation.
Well, especially if the grandfather raises the son from an early age, right? Yeah. Like my name is Hyle Russell. My grandfather's name was Hyle Russell. He died 20 years, basically to the day that I was born. He died the day after Kennedy died. Oh, and so it like sucks for him, right? Like nobody's gonna be worrying about his funeral except his family. But the president was shot. Anyway, I was born 20 years to the day JFK was shot, so I got named after him. And I got Kennedy's hair, so I got my grandfather's name and JFK's hair. So I'm not really complaining about it, even though sometimes I feel like it was passed down to me as like a curse. But I've outlived my grandfather too. That's sobering.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, he fought in like Korea and like was a race car driver.
Oh man.
And I'm a Donkey Kong journalist.
Well, family's moving up in the world.
So anyway, but okay, let's say history went differently and my grandfather lived and I was born and something happened to my parents, some crime alley situation. And then I was taken in at a very, very young age by my grandfather. Chances are I would refer to myself as Hyle Russell Jr. if that was the case. And the people who really are attached to the idea that the modern Donkey Kong cannot be Donkey Kong Jr., they seem to get hung up on the idea of, I like the character of Donkey Kong Jr., I don't want him wasted by being a modern Donkey Kong as an adult, because then we will lose the character I love. Here's my thing, Gibbon, and this is your thing too, because I can feel it about ready to leave your mouth hole.
Okay.
Okay, they're not putting one and one together. They're adding one and one, and they're getting three. They're not seeing the true arithmetic here. If you are attached to Donkey Kong Jr. and you fully cop to Cranky Kong has raised what you are proclaiming to be Donkey Kong Jr.'s son, there are two possibilities that leaves for Donkey Kong Jr. He died. Or he ran away and abandoned his child to his parents.
Or he got retconned out of the timeline like all of Bowser's other kids.
Well, I think that's one of those cases where word of God gets trumped by in-game evidence, and to me,
I'm just imagining some DC comic situation where they're undoing the New 52, and Donkey Kong and Cranky suddenly remember Junior exists in some comic book special.
You know, the nightmare of DC Comics. I was so excited about Rebirth when it started, and it's been 5 years. It's been going on for almost 5 years, and they still haven't fixed the fucking universe.
Nope, they're still doing it. The new Young Justice series just undid all the retconning, so now the original Young Justice continuity is back because they're all remembering it.
It's like, okay, we're gonna merge New 52 Superman with classic Superman. Okay, that fixes some of the timeline. Okay, now we're gonna have this event called Metal. That fixes some of the timeline. Okay, now it's time for Doomsday Clock. Okay, that fixes some of the timeline.
Oh, Doomsday Clock didn't fix some of the timeline. It did questionable things to the timeline.
It brought the Justice Society back. It brought back Ma and Pa Kent.
But it also posited that Dr. Manhattan created the DC universe out of boredom while he was playing with godhood. So...
No, he stumbled across it. Reread it. Anyway. So... And now they've announced, okay, so now we've got a sequel to Metal that's going to fix some of the timeline, but now they just announced a new series that's going to muddle with the timeline anymore. I'm like, can't you tell any other stories besides this meta, we've got to fix the timeline bullshit? Stop picking at this scab.
I mean, all they told for like a decade and a half prior to New 52 was, let's mine old Alan Moore shorts for story ideas and then run them as long as possible.
Well, anyway, so... which is why I'm really dreading when they introduce the multiverse to the DC films and the Marvel films, because that's both coming in both cinematic universes. Like, and then we're going to have crises, and we're going to have reboots,
and that's not even a speculative they're coming. They've announced the films in which they're being introduced.
We've never had to deal with that as Donkey Kong fans, and and if DK Vine has anything to say about it, we never will. But I think Koopalines, I think Word of God has to be wrong there. They are Bowser's children. So is Bowser Jr. So are the
even some of the more recent spin-offs sort of support that, with Bowser Jr. referring to himself as a Koopaling and trying to fit in with the rest of them.
Yeah, and the baby Bowsers and / Koopa kids from the Mario Party series, they're still canon. Bowser just he goes around town getting it wet, and he's not careful, and I mean, this is who he is. And I view it like Chris Seaver, who makes some questionable proclamations about Conquer Canon, and I'm like, dude, it's in the games. I don't know what to tell you. I respect you as the creator and the driving force behind the Conquer series, but also Pocket Tales happened. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I kind of view all the Koopa kids as, we know in this universe, kids get delivered by Stork when a couple spends enough time together, and Bowser just has Peach more often than not at this point, and they've been married twice now, so the Stork just keeps dropping off kids.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
my brain auto-corrected
had
there.
As in
like,
kidnapped, not
okay.
had as in, yeah.
Yeah. My brain fixed your questionable statement, and I will allow our viewers, our / listeners, to also autocorrect as well. Anyway. So yeah. And it's funny to me because people keep bringing up a passage in the Playing with Superpower book.
That book. Sorry.
Okay. No. So a few years ago, right, this book came out. DK Vine was featured in it. So, but I believe it was a Super Mario Kart page. They bring up that they make the proclamation that Donkey Kong Jr. is the father of the current Donkey Kong, right?
Yeah, but the way they gathered that info was suspect, so...
Well, here's the thing, Gibbon. People are selectively highlighting that passage as, like, proof. This is an official Nintendo book. You flip forward to the Donkey Kong Country section in the book, and it refers to the modern Donkey Kong as an adult Donkey Kong Jr.
Yeah, because they got that info from us.
No, they didn't get it from us. They did their own research. They didn't, like, interview me or anything. Like, tell me everything we need to know about Donkey Kong Country. No, they interviewed me about DK Vine. I didn't... Everybody thinks that I'm responsible for that passage, and I'm like, no, I am responsible for what you see on the DK Vine page. That is all.
Including a wonderful shout out to me, thank you.
You're quite welcome, and now in servitude, you have to do these podcasts 3 to 4 times a year. So, my point is, there is not enough evidence one way or another to say, one, Donkey Kong, as we know him today, is an adult Donkey Kong Jr., or he is the son of Donkey Kong Jr., as we knew him then. However, there is more in-game context and evidence to suggest he is an adult Donkey Kong Jr. than there is the other way around. And the biggest thing that people do not seem to perceive, because most people don't understand the secondary story of Donkey Kong Country, and I will argue the heart of Donkey Kong Country, and really the entire Donkey Kong Country trilogy, it's Diddy's quest to become a video game hero, and later arguably Dixie's quest, but Diddy is being trained by Donkey Kong, who, as the game begins, is already a video game hero.
Yep.
If Donkey Kong Country is his first appearance, then he is starting on the same level as Diddy Kong, and therefore has no credentials to train him. So the only thing that makes sense is this guy was in previous video games, and he did something pretty damn heroic to earn that title. Oh, did he rescue his father / grandfather? Yeah, that's it.
I agree.
And then that makes it more thematically satisfying that he gets himself kidnapped in Donkey Kong Country 2, and that's where Diddy finally achieved the title of video game hero, much
it's
the
like
way
poetry. It rhymes.
it rhymes. Yes. So, all that being said, all that had to be said, Gibbon, because I see the Donkey Kong fandom sniping at each other, and I was like, we can't have this. So I said, Gibbon, we need to have an emergency conversation mini to address this.
Well, would you like me to put it to bed right now?
Go ahead.
Junior is listed as a variant of Donkey Kong in Tour.
Yeah. So I remember people saying he's in parentheses. Like what was the parenthetical?
The parenthetical is SNES, but characters are also broken up into original and variants of other characters. And like Mario SNES is a variant character, so is Donkey Kong Jr.
Yeah. So, okay. So, I'm so very happy about this.
I knew you would be. I've been sitting on that the whole podcast so far.
Because people were using the parenthetical SNES as proof that Donkey Kong Jr. would be added to the game with a new 3D model. They are bringing Donkey Kong Jr. back, baby. And nope, this is it. This is what you're getting. And what you're getting is a retro sprite of Donkey Kong Jr. and Mario from Super Mario Kart. And within this context, it is permissible in Nintendo's eyes to bring Donkey Kong Jr., the arcade version of the character, back. However, they probably wouldn't make a new 3D model of Donkey Kong Jr. for the same reason they abandoned it with Double Dash, for the same reason we have not seen him since Game & Watch Gallery 4, and that is because they realize it makes no sense outside of time travel shenanigans. And sure, you've got Baby Mario and Baby Luigi going on down the list. But they also introduced Baby Donkey Kong in Yoshi's Island DS, and he has appeared in the years since Yoshi's Island DS. So, if anything, Baby Donkey Kong will be added to the game, and this is all you're getting for this visage of Donkey Kong Jr., this image of him from the arcade era. This is it. And they're never bringing him back.
Like, they've never added a variant of a character before adding the base version of the character. And they've never had a parenthetical on a character that's not treated as a new base character.
Sure.
Like, even when Ice Mario got added, there was no parenthetical, and he was treated as a new character who then gets his own variants. So them having a parenthetical on Donkey Kong Jr. and including him with the other variants just implies, by the way the game is structured, that he is a variant of an existing character in the game already.
Yeah. So I would ask everyone to turn your copies of Playing with Superpower to the Donkey Kong Country section. And if you're okay with marking your books, use a yellow highlighter. I would never do this, but use a yellow highlighter and highlight the passage that says he is an adult Donkey Kong Jr. Go back to the Super Mario Kart section. Just rip that out. That's inaccurate. Don't need that. So, they were written by two different authors, by the way. And one author handled the Donkey Kong Country section, and one author handled the Super Mario Kart section. And I believe, like that just sums it up, doesn't it? That just,
yeah.
But I think going forward, Gibbon, Nintendo will care about this stuff. I think they do. I think the fact that they're thinking about it this much shows a level of dedication to sorting out Donkey Kong's continuity, and really not sorting it out. It's sorted. It's been sorted. Just propping up what Rare already left them. And they've essentially been continuing for 18 years now. But going into this new era of Donkey Kong, where there is a new Donkey Kong game in development, and Donkey Kong is being given a higher priority at Nintendo, and they are investing a lot of money into the Donkey Kong brand, I think this is what you're going to see. And I think you're still going to see arcade Donkey Kong Jr. in these retro context. But as far as like bringing Junior back as a new 3D model, I would be very shocked if we ever saw that again.
And before anybody brings up the fact that he's got his own icon, other variants in the game also have unique icons, so don't worry about it.
I love the image of him driving around the DK Jumbo, which was, of course, Donkey Kong, and by proxy, Diddy Kong's kart and Double Dash. I love the DK Jumbo, and seeing him drive the DK Jumbo, or whatever variant of the DK Jumbo this is, it was just like, whoa, like, that's my guy. That just younger.
It's great.
And for all the complaints I had about wasting Dixie Kong, her Mario Kart debut in this game, I find this delightful. I loved when they announced this, and I was like, this is the way to do it. This will hopefully satiate the diehards who like the idea of Donkey Kong Jr., but they really just like the character design or just the concept of a young...
I have to stop you there. Nobody in their right mind likes Junior's character design.
Whoa! Coming from the guy who runs DK Girder, what?
Junior has a much better character design, and ironically it came on a cereal box. Junior's design is fine, but it's boring, and it's been done better, and I don't know why Nintendo doesn't use the other existing designs for Junior that are infinitely better than the classic one, and they probably just keep using this one because it's the one Miyamoto came up with.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and it's funny to me, the whole reason we have Diddy Kong to begin with is Rare didn't like this design, and they wanted to change the design for DK Jr. to look more like what we know as Diddy Kong. And Nintendo was like, no, you can't do that. Either say it's a new character or revert to Donkey Kong Jr.'s design, design he has now.
Like, for the people who don't know what I'm talking about, like, as opposed to the sort of strongman leotard he's got on here and traditionally, on the Donkey Kong Jr. cereal in the 80s, he had an original design somehow for reasons where he's got sort of a basketball jersey type get-up that's red with the yellow J on it, and it just looks so much better than the white skin-tight leotard.
The strongman leotard feels like something that's like 60 years out of date. And also, like, why does he have a V on the leotard? Well, like, the sprite looks like
the sprite mirroring. Yeah.
It's like, what does the V stand for? Vendetta. Speaking of Alan Moore, but I think that like, hopefully that this will like please people, because here you've got fans of Donkey Kong Jr. Here you go. Like, if you're just in love with the character design or the idea of the character, like this character who went on this adventure in the arcade game, rescued his dad, killed Mario a little bit, and then did some other things like math and then did this karting thing. You've got it. But for those of us who also adore the idea that Donkey Kong grew up and he became the tie-wearing, laid-back man of the 90s that we met in Donkey Kong Country, well, we've got that too. And this doesn't ruin that, because this is clearly presented, more so than Baby Mario and all the other baby characters, as a character out of time. The graphical difference, which I normally don't like that much, but I'll allow it here because it's clever enough, and it provides context, an immediate visual clue to let everyone know, hey, this character is from the past. They do not belong. They're driving around the go-kart track with another character from the present who is our Donkey Kong.
They also weren't lazy with it. They did some nice jobs with it. He's got some nice trick animations, like he does a hand pump, but also claps his feet together and stuff.
It's only slightly disorienting to see him and Mario driving around the 3D modeled carts of Mario Kart
Yeah.
Tour. It's a little bit like, wait, what? Because when it was originally introduced to us with a tweet, they were driving just the standard like Mario Kart 64 carts. And then, see them drive other things. And now that they're in the game, you can, I guess, put them in whatever they'll fit in. But, it works. They look great. I mean, as much as your hatred of this design of Donkey Kong Jr. will allow it to look great in your eyes.
Yeah,
But
I was being a bit facetious. I do agree that he looks great here. This is probably the best Donkey Kong Jr.'s ever looked, honestly.
yeah, in the live stream chat, it's the MF Contagious. I believe there's a motherfucking in there. They want to know, what is the deal with DK Jr. and DK in Mario Tennis together? What's the deal with DK Jr. and DK in Mario? I haven't done a Seinfeld in a long time.
Yeah, that was way off.
Yeah, you know what, Gibbon? Fuck you. All right, look. Doing Seinfeld impressions hasn't been in vogue in at least 15 years. So
it wasn't even in vogue when Seinfeld was doing them on TV.
It's the same reason Baby Mario can be in the same game as Adult Mario. And DK Vine explains that as the chest of time, as just Andre helpfully pointed out. The chest of time being the artifact that Master Hand left behind from the original Super Smash Brothers. But you can, fill in the blanks however you want, however time travel is possible. This has been going on since the original Mario Golf in 1999, when Baby Mario first popped up in one of these games. And we had the debate, is this a time-displaced Mario, or is this the love child of Mario and Peach? Because, Peach has been spending a lot of time with Mario, as you might say. We ultimately went with time-displaced, and I think that's what Nintendo went with as well. Anyway, I think this is great, Gibbon. I think this will hopefully please fans of this version of DK Jr., but it definitely pleases me because I think it confirms in-game that this is the younger version of our Donkey Kong, the Donkey Kong Country Donkey Kong.
Most definitely. It's right there. Look, he's a variant.
He's a variant. Well, hopefully they'll add Baby Donkey Kong to the game next.
That would please me to no end.
And then we could finally put to bed, is it a younger Cranky or is it a younger Donkey Kong Jr.?
Just watch them now put in Cranky, and he's also listed as a variant, and we're like, no!
This has been a File 2 production.
Que rico.